Hi there, this is Mr. Evans. In this video I'm going to have a look at how to evaluate in the 16 mark questions. So there are two 16 mark questions, two in each of the papers, So two 16 mark questions in paper 1 and two in paper 2. And it's the same format for answering both of them. So I've spoken in the last video about the structure for a 16 mark question. I've here to delete the slide, but the structure is definition, two analytical paragraphs, and then a very clear conclusion. This is what the 16 mark paragraph, the analytical paragraph, is going to look like. Really focusing on answering the question in each paragraph, which usually puts forward two sides of the argument. So paragraph 1 is one side of the argument, paragraph 2 is the other side of the argument. In our conclusion, which we're going to focus on in this essay, we want, in this video, we're going to look at how to answer the question in the evaluation. So the first thing that you want to do in an evaluation is clearly answer the question. Don't start off your evaluation by saying something along the lines of, it's clear there are many advantages and many disadvantages to ... Right, the examiner knows that. It's a rubbish statement, it's a waste of time. Start off your paragraph by clearly answering the question. Then provide some support for your answer. This should be something that you've discussed before. And it could be a matter of saying, well, this is the most important reason for doing this. It outweighs the most important benefit of option B because. Alright, so you want to explain why you've come to your answer using the case study, using the analysis that you've already done. You shouldn't be introducing anything new in the conclusion. It's simply comparing maybe the strength of arguments on each side. You could identify a problem with your answer and then suggest a solution to that issue. So I'll look at some other questions because actually this particular question that we were looking at on last year's one, I've done an interesting conclusion which we'll have a look at now. So the question is, do you believe that Halfords operation management decisions are more likely to increase profitability than its staff training program? Now, throughout it talks about, the impact of broadening its operations, improving its supply chain. Lots of this is about driving down costs, labour productivity, lower unit costs overall. Staff training has allowed them to fit a wider range of products more quickly, better service. So that's helped to increase their revenue. So what's my paragraph going to look like? Well, I said, first of all, clearly answer the question. Actually, in this case, I don't think there is such a clear answer to the question. So my answer to the question is this. I believe that the improvements in operational efficiency, such as higher capacity utilisation and higher labour productivity, have depended on the quality of the staff training programme. Okay, so my answer is actually, well, to improve its operations management and these operations management decisions, the implementation of them, has actually depended on the staff training programme. It's very difficult to separate them. So going back to our conclusion, I have answered the question. Whether it's clear or not is debatable. Hopefully I can clear that up by providing some support for the answer. If the staff training had not been effective, the staff would not be able to work so effectively so quickly. I did write this in time conditions. Maybe so efficiently would be better. Spell. If the staff training had not been so effectively, the staff would have not been able to work so efficiently. This would have reduced capacity utilisation and labour productivity. Therefore, it's difficult to say which has been the most important approach to increasing profitability. So I've tried to explain, look, you're trying to, with the operations management decisions, we're trying to cut costs by increasing labour productivity and capacity utilisation. We can't do those things unless we've got well-trained staff. Therefore, it's difficult to say which has been the most important approach to increasing productivity. That's the problem with my answer, really, I suppose. So I need to really suggest a solution because I'm still sitting on the fence a little bit here. So it is arguable that the staff training was the most effective method at driving up revenues, as staff were able to provide good customer service. Okay, it hints here that they were able to fit a wider range of products more quickly, blah, blah, blah. So staff training was most effective at driving up revenues, while the operations management decisions to increase capacity utilisation and labour turnover helped to drive down costs, both contributing to increased profitability for Halfords. So I have sat on the fence a little bit, but at least I've tried to say, well, you know, one of them's increased revenue and one of them's cut costs, which is the key things that you need to do for profitability. So at least the examiner knows I understand what profitability is, and I have come to some sort of conclusion here. They're basically interrelated and it's difficult to separate them. So just quickly, I will show you this, which goes over some real answers from last year. I mean, you're welcome to pause the video and have a read of it. This answer got 5 marks. If you read it, limited argument, recycling of the material from the case study, lifts material directly from the case but does not attempt to link to the argument to profitability. It does attempt to link the argument to profitability, although it's far from convincing. Okay, so yeah, have a read of that, but that wasn't a particularly good response. This one, let's just have a look at it. Operational decisions, wide range of products, okay. Fitting service, generates up. So this is all about operations decisions. That bit is about staff training, and then you've got your conclusion. So you can see that this is a pretty one-sided argument, and it gets 8 marks as a result, but feel free to pause the video, have a read. That's what AQA said. Final one got into the top bracket. It's not the best answer. I recommend to start off with the definition. They then discuss the training program, operations management. If you do pause it and read it, it's just worth noting that, you know, they talk about how the training program increases revenue. They talk about how operations decisions increase revenue. They don't make any mention of costs. Okay, and they've got a fairly basic conclusion. Yeah, building brand loyalty, customers return, therefore operations decisions are made more likely. Okay, basic conclusion. It's got into level 1, 13 out of 16 isn't too bad, but the final feedback from AQA, ultimately it lacks real depth, it doesn't touch on the cost implications, and it's not well supported. The response is mainly precise rather than precise. So that's got 13 marks. So I hope that helps you in your 16 mark evaluation questions.